I want to talk about something important today, because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies. What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now we're going to focus.
You heard it from the wealthy horse's mouth. That was Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook and Instagram saying that after the election and due to the overwhelming majority of the country saying that's enough, they're rolling back, dialing down, reducing or removing altogether censorship on those platforms. Now, he mentioned there's bad stuff out there like drugs and child trafficking and things of that nature. I think, kiddie porn and child trafficking, of course, those are terrible things that should be stomped out at every turn, and those who are responsible for it should face the long arm of the law. But to be completely honest with you, drugs, if people are using Facebook or Instagram to sell drugs, I really don't give a shit. I don't. People are going to find their ways to get drugs no matter what. So I don't really care about that. Mean things, hateful things, I don't care about that either. That's why we have the First Amendment, is for stuff like that. If everybody got online and said, "Good morning, everyone, puppies are cute, and I love marshmallows," there would be no speech that needed protecting, because who's going to argue with that? Who's going to argue with those kind, happy words? Well, the First Amendment's not for kind, happy stuff. It's for shit that people say, "What? Man, that's disgusting. What the hell's wrong with you?" Those are the kind of things that need the protection of the First Amendment. And Mark Zuckerberg and others were infringing upon that. And there's more to his video that he put up, and I'll definitely play the rest of it. I broke it up. It was like 5 minutes long, so I didn't want to sit here for 5 minutes. So I kind of broke it up. So I'll talk in between just a little bit. And of course, appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you give me a follow on X at @green_Jericho. Give me a follow on Instagram, said Instagram at JG Talk 2. And that's another thing I wanted to bring up. So is YouTube going to follow suit? Is YouTube going to say, "Hey," and I would love to see that, because then my channel can keep growing the way it's supposed to, and everybody else's who's been shadow banned. But will YouTube follow suit and say, "Hey, we're going to roll back the censorship and allow people to say what they want, and allow the people of this platform to decide what they don't want to hear"? That's another thing that Mark Zuckerberg is going to talk about, how the appetite of people has changed. This is what they want. So give it to them. Duh. Business 101. What does your target demographic want? Okay, give it to them. You give it to them, they give you money. Case closed. Happy ending. Everybody goes home getting what they want. They get their product, you get their money. Duh. And is Instagram or are Instagram and Facebook going to reinstate the accounts of those who were wrongfully deleted or suspended or removed or whatever? Are they going to reinstate those? Because I know myself and some others would like their shit back. I mentioned in the last video and a couple others that, give me a follow on X at green underscore at JG Talk 2, and I just hit over 1,000 followers, and I appreciate every single one of you. But under my other account, JG Talk, I had amassed almost 70,000 followers. So I'd rather have these 1,000 plus the almost 70,000 that I had on my last account that was taken away for what you asked, because I said that among other things, and I wouldn't. I would just respond with whatever I thought. I thought we had free speech and I could do that. I would say, that shit's fucking stupid, you're a dumbass, or whatever it called for. Or I got one slap on the wrist because I posted a thing that said, Native Americans own slaves too. It's true. What's the problem? That got taken down. Hate speech. A few other things I posted that were true. I posted something that the Pope said. I didn't even say it, but I posted it. It was from a major news outlet. I think it was from the New York Post, and I reposted it. And the Pope, was it the Pope? It was a Pope or some cardinal or some shit like that. But he said he referred to the alphabet soup group with the F word. I didn't do it. That got taken down. So just bullshit like that. But if you got an 8-year-old twerking in front of a bunch of weirdos in a gay club, hey, post away, right? So are they going to reinstate the accounts of people who were wrongfully deleted? We'll see about that. But let's check back in with Mr. Zuckerberg and his newfound revelation.
Now we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down. Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed. So we stopped recommending these posts. But it feels like we're in a new era now, and we're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again. So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads while working to keep the communities friendly and positive. Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams. Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitution.
So we'll hold off right there. We'll pause right there. We'll get back to this, a couple more clips. But some of the things he said in there, there was an appetite that people didn't want to hear a lot of political stuff because it was stressing them out, because now they do. And now that Trump's in office, I think, because remember, he went to visit Trump. It was about a month ago or something like that. He went down to Mar-a-Lago to visit Trump. And I think Trump, maybe in not so many words, told him, hey, get your shit together and ease up on the censorship, because that was one of the main things that pissed people off and put me in the office, is the censorship of social media. You need to get on board. We already got X taken care of. Instagram and Facebook need to follow, and hopefully YouTube will do the same. But I think Trump kind of let him know, you need to get your shit together and change it, or you're going to have some problems. So he's talking about moving his business from California, and that's one of the Mount Rushmores of Silicon Valley. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, PayPal, Cash App, all these different apps that are on your phone when you get it new, it's on the factory settings, are in Silicon Valley. So that's a major one. Just imagine them taking one of the president's faces off of Mount Rushmore. That's what taking YouTube out of the Bay Area is, and they're going to Texas. So how many jobs is that? How many jobs is it taken from California? You can thank Gavin Bang Your Wife Newsom for that one. for running another major business out of California. Good job, you rotten piece of shit. So let's go on and hear Mr. Zuckerberg again. And I know what you're thinking. What's the catch? Are you telling the truth? Why are you doing this? How long is it going to last? Is if Trump is out of office, when Trump is out of office, because of course this is his last term. Whatever happens after that, maybe we get J.D. Vance or some other conservatives. Maybe we don't. But when a Democrat gets back in there, are you going to change your tune? Are you going to kowtow to them again? Or are you going to get on all fours and allow them to attach the leash to your collar and make you do what they say, make you censor what they tell you to censor? Because so far he's just saying, well, we tried this, it didn't work out, the people don't want it. But were you doing this? You implemented those restrictions on our speech? You implemented that censorship, or was it the federal government?
But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the US government. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it. It'll take time to get this right, and these are complex systems. They're never going to be perfect. There's also a lot of illegal stuff that we still need to work very hard to remove. But the bottom line is that after years of having our content moderation work focus primarily on removing content, it is time to focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our systems, and getting back to our roots about giving people voice. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there, and more to come soon.
Okay, so you saw him kind of take a shot at the current administration, saying over the past 4 years, with even the federal government pushing for censorship, leaning on them to censor their content. Now, some of us, I would think, hey, well, then tell the federal government to fuck off. But maybe he couldn't do that. Maybe it wasn't that simple. But the bottom line is he says that they're going to roll back, dial back their censorship. So is that true? He says it's going to take a while. How long is it going to take? Like I mentioned before, is it going to be permanent, or does it depend on who's in charge? Sounds like so far depends on who's in charge, because with the current administration, yes, boss, yes, boss. And with the new one coming in, he's still kind of doing the yes, boss thing, but it's to our benefit. I'd love to see it how it was. I'd love to see it back way back in my day where I walked to school uphill both ways. Remember this, think back, close your eyes unless you're driving and think back to when you were allowed to say whatever the fuck you wanted on the internet. Nobody got hurt. Nobody died from it. You just said what you said. and walked away. You lifted your finger from the keyboard and walked away. Because there's this thing that people can do if there are hurtful comments or people are typing things or writing comments that you don't like and hurtful things, and it makes me cry at night. There's this thing called don't look at them. There's this thing called don't follow that account. The internet, it is wide open to the world, but you can also tailor what you see to your likes. So if you don't like certain pages or platforms where people say things that hurt your feelings, then stay away from them. Disable the comments. You have options. Life is about choices. So what say you about Zuckerberg? Has he seen the light? Remember James Brown and Blues Brothers? Do you see the light? Does Zuckerberg see the light? Will this be a permanent change? What do you think? But as I told you before, I'm a man of my word. Good Gun is back. So before I go, remember this. You know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Let's enjoy somebody bad having something bad happen to them. I'm out.
With a seemingly endless violent crime wave plaguing Southern California, homeowners, would-be victims, are increasingly fighting back. Investigators say around 5 a.m. Saturday morning in Granada Hills, 4 men in their 20s, armed with rifles, entered a home on Swinton Avenue with the intention of committing a robbery. The homeowner, a grandmother, and toddler were inside. One of the intruders pointed his weapon at the homeowner, and at some point during the violent crime, the homeowner pulled out his own gun and fatally shot one of the thieves. The 3 others scattered, and police believe at least one of them was also injured because authorities discovered a trail of blood in the neighborhood. Apparently, the getaway car was left at the scene. The victims tell KTLA they are still grappling with the traumatic experience and do not want to talk to the media at this time. Video from the scene shows at least 2 men being handcuffed, but details are unclear. Police say they detained the resident involved in the shooting for questioning before paramedics examined him.
Our investigation will continue at this point, but anyone that's inside of their residence that is faced with a deadly threat and is perceived as a deadly threat has the right to protect themselves.
Some neighbors who spoke to us do not want to be identified.
The suspects messed with the wrong homeowner, So hopefully this will stop them or something. It makes me feel good that people actually protect their home and, they're able to protect their home and stop these guys.